Alright, so this is going to be the first stand tier list. We're just going to hop straight into it. Now, I will preface this tier list. Important to note, very important to note, I did not watch LCP. I did not watch CBLOL. I watched all of LCK and LEC, and I watched LCS and LPL playoffs. Okay, that is my bandwidth. To be honest, with this few teams, I think it's quite easy to do a tier list, and you've probably seen tier lists, or you've probably watched League, or you can recognize some of these names from olden and years and just kind of gauge where teams are. I think it's changed a little bit, but not as much. Obviously, there's points of this tier list that I think maybe people don't really need to hear about or need to harp on about endlessly. Like, for example, Gen.G being S tier. I cannot stress enough, and I don't want to be that guy, but I cannot stress enough, maybe other people have already, that if Gen.G don't win this tournament, this is the most fucked up thing ever. And whoever does end up beating Gen.G, if they were to lose, needs to be zoomed in on and looked at for the rest of the year, and for MSI especially. But this should just be a Gen.G stomp fest. It really should. It should be a Gen.G stomp fest. They completely annihilated the LCK, and they are showing... To be honest, I don't think there's any real competition that comes that close to them. I think the only competition that will come close is BLG. I've thought about it a lot, and I'll share my opinions on these teams. But I think the closest opponent that they've probably got is BLG. Now, for those of you who don't know, maybe you haven't been following too much. From my perspective of BLG, I think their biggest strength for sure is their solo laners, from what I've seen. I think their solo laners are so strong in lane. And I think you need quality solo laners to play against a team like Gen.G. If you don't have like the Bins and the Knights against the Chovies and the Keens, you're already cooked. Obviously, they've got Viper, you know, and people are probably like, talk about Viper, this guy's crazy, he's on BLG, la 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 la. Yeah, he's great for sure. But I think to have fundamentally like a strong core against a team like Gen.G, there's the portion of jungle bot, and then there's the solo laners. And I think the biggest excelling point for me for BLG was just watching their solo laners. Like Knight's picks and his lane phase, and Bin's lane phase, just already basically won them, in my opinion, the LPL. Like, I think that their matchup against JDG was just won through raw solo lane diff. So I think that'll be the big reason why BLG wins. FearX, I think that FearX is a team that a lot of people will quote-unquote underrate coming into the tournament, because they've got names like Vikla. I think Vikla is a big standout, where people will look at Vikla and be like, that guy's kind of bad. To be honest, Vikla's had probably the best year of his entire career. I don't know, I haven't watched his whole career, but that guy has been completely frying. He's been solo killing people, his champion pool's deep, he's been flexing champions around. And to be honest, it's kind of one of those things where you've been watching him for about 2 months and you're expecting him to fall over, but he just keeps running. And you're like, what? How does he have that much energy? There's no way he can keep going, right? Yeah, I think there might be a lot of doubt around FearX, because A, their players' names are not that popular, i.e. the Clears and the Raptors of the worlds. And B, Vikla's probably just got a horrible narrative around them for being not as good as a player and shouldn't be at this international. To be honest, I'm also in that boot, you know, in that pocket. I'm waiting for Vikla to fall over too. I'm still, as much as I've been like loving watching him, I'm still not bought into it. There's still a part of me that's really reserved, being like, I don't think this is gonna last all year, right? Surely he can't keep this up, this form, because the level he's showing is insane. I think one of the biggest strengths of FearX for me is their jungle bot. Crazy jungle bot. Diable Kellen. Wow. This bot lane Diable Kellen was... This might sound crazy, but they were gapping a lot of the LCK bot lanes. And I think Raptor is a fucking driving force behind FearX. I think the biggest strength of FearX is their jungle bot. And that's why I think that they're probably the third best team in the tournament. I'll put them high B. It's going to be separations here because there's not many teams. I think that they are... Their biggest strength is jungle bot. And I would look at their matchup versus BLG, and I would say BLG makes a lot of random blunders and mistakes and crazy shit. I probably will rearrange this tier list as we go, but I need to like layer people out. I could see a world where FearX beats BLG. I could. I think that their jungle bot is exactly the win condition that they need against a team like BLG. But then I look at the solo lanes again and I'm like... Slight Vikla hater, even though it's the year of Vikla. I think Clear is a really solid and reliable top laner, and he's been such a good rock for FearX. But I look at players like Bin and Knight, and I'm like, there's just no way there is just no way that FearX loses to BLG in a best of 5. Because I think that, for example, the jungle bot of FearX gets away, actually makes a lot of work. Now, I might be wrong here. I need to check the stats. But I think that Raptor is insane on champs like Pantheon. He can get like good Maokai angles. But I think, or like, okay, Nocturne angles. But I want to say, where's Raptor? The deeper they go in Fearless, the more scared I get for the jungle bot of FearX. Yeah, Nocturne, Pantheon, Mundo. I'm a bit scared the deeper and deeper they go into Fearless. Now, I think the best player on FearX is... People will say Diable. Bro, I'm gonna say... Is Kellen not just the best player on that roster? He's fucking insane. I don't know what's happened to Kellen, and this whole year of Vic Lamont narrative's been flying around. But bro, I think Kellen is secretly and just quiet, well, even not quietly, he's been smurfing. He's playing like... He's making 0 mistakes. He's hardly ever getting caught. His mechanics are insane. And I feel like maybe it helps because Diable is so good that Kellen's job has become easier in a range support meta where he can just hug Diable and just play Diable's game. Because basically the way FearX will win a game against you is they'll snowball through jungle bot, they'll draft for jungle bot, they'll play like Lucian Nami, or they'll play Ashe Seraphine, or they'll play some fucking lane where Diable can be a bit more crazy, where he can dash in if he wants to. Yunara is a good example. They'll get them slightly ahead, and then Diable will play the mid waves like a madman, and he will just attack you on mid waves constantly with Kellen next to you, and you'll slowly chip away to AD carry on mid waves, and that's how they'll open up the map. Kellen just seems to be at the right place at the right time all the time, so big glaze for me for the jungle bot of FearX. Support always looks good when their AD carries a beast. That is completely untrue, I think. I think bot lane, like AD carries are so decided by how well their support's playing, isn't it? Isn't that just like so important? I think that that a support playing good can make an AD carry look good, but an AD carry playing good cannot make a support look good. Or I guess a better word is like if your support's not playing good, it's hard for the AD carry to shine, even though the AD carry can still look good. Does that make sense? Like I think there's AD carries that are just cat despair and Elo hell, and you can tell that they are capable of more, but their support doesn't unlock them to shine, you know? So they just look a little bit rough around the edges. I think Gen.G is in a tier next to FearX. The sad thing is, I don't know if we will ever see these teams play against each other because of the way the format works. So I don't think we'll ever find out which one is the better team. But I think that they have, like, for example, for me, like, Gen.G, to be honest, I think that the Weibo series was Weibo, right? Yeah, the Weibo series, for me, the biggest reason why they won that series was, like, Gen.G was just completely gapping. Gen.G feels like a massive driving force behind Gen.G. I feel like if Gen.G is just not having a good game, the team just looks ass. And if Gen.G is having a good game, it just looks like he's just running it. I wonder how these teams would match up, because I'm actually like pleasantly surprised. Personally, like I said, I didn't watch much of the LPL until the playoffs. When I started to watch the playoffs, I think that Xiaoshu looked like a good top laner. But I'm a bit concerned because I think that Xiaoshu looks like he's a good top laner on specific champs. Why is chat saying has such? He looks like he's good on specific champs. Wait, I should probably just bring up the stats because I'm doing it for everyone else. He looks good on Renekton, for sure. And I think they early rotated Sion, right? In their win against BLG. Outside of that, he's been a bit quiet. The Jax was not bad, actually. The Jax was not bad at all. I remember watching this series. This was the first game. This was where Bin, like, completely monster stomped. And the solo lanes just won them this entire game, right? This game. BLG's game. Even though Gen.G was having a good game. The solo lanes completely won that game. Then there was this game where... Oh, this is where the solo lanes are also completely smurfing. Xiaoshu was not that bad in this game. This game was the game where they played the Olaf, where it was... BLG was giga far ahead, and then they kind of threw and just got ran at by Gen.G just running at them. Bro, I swear to God, these games, Gen.G is ahead, he just runs them over if he can. Was a good game by Vampire as well, I think. This game was the giga outdraft. Wait, is this game 5? No, this is game 4. Ah, yeah, this is game 4. This game was a giga outdraft, in game 5 I also think was a giga outdraft. This Anivia, they flexed, they did this Anivia support fucking pick, which actually, I don't think they flexed it, actually, I think they 4-5'd this Anivia support pick, which was insane. I don't ever want to see Gen.G on Aatrox again. Does he have a good win rate on Aatrox or not? Because it looked disgusting. Okay, you'll never play that again. Yeah, I think Gen.G, when he's on like Vi, Pantheon, Maokai, Shore, anything that's proactive, has a point and click stun and can make plays around the map, Gen.G just looks like he's really solid on. I would put these two around the even states. I think that one's mainly led by their jungle bot, and one's kind of led by like what they can get in the draft, and mostly their jungler. That's my take, at least, on the teams. I'm not going to put these two teams in. I'm for sure going to put G2 in. above Lion. I think this is kind of how the teams really are structured. I'm not sure where Secret Wales and Loud would slot in. To me, the reason I put them like that, I'm impressed by Lion from watching them in playoffs. That Inspired can single-handedly shot call and direct the team into winning a finals. Like, that in and of itself is impressive. But I think holistically, as a team and individuals, G2 should just outperform them. By a margin that's big? No, probably not. Like, I think that at this tournament, if G2 beat either JDG or FearX, that's a massive win. I think I should bring up the brackets real quick. Because there's an easy world here. Like I said, the sad thing is we won't see FearX versus JDG. But there's an easy world here where, like, G2, maybe they beat Secret Wales, sure. And maybe Lion beat Loud. After watching the fact that C9 get blasted by... So for context, the America's Cup, C9 went with Sentinels and they got fucking bodied by Brazil, and Brazil owned the shit out of them. So maybe the gap between Brazil and NA isn't that big. Regardless, Lion should probably beat Loud, right? If Lion beats Loud and G2 beats this and then they lose and then they go... They play FearX later on and they get knocked out. You would assume safely that BLG and FearX get out 1-2 and Gen.G, JDG get out 1-2, right? And in that case, they would... Gen.G would play FearX, BLG would play JDG, and you wouldn't ever get the JDG-FearX matchup, is what I said. But my biggest question mark is, can G2 beat FearX? For me, the two closest matchups of the tournament that should actually happen are... there's actually one, though. It should be G2 versus FearX. That should be it. But I think G2 is an interesting team. We'll start with G2, right? Because the two weaknesses of G2 that people would see throughout the last 6 months, I would say, is top support. I would say you would look at Labrov and be like, what the fuck's that guy doing this here? And you look at BB and you'd be like, even though BB had a bit of a rise last year. I think Scumon's improved a lot. Across the year that he's been at G2, I think Scumon's grown into probably like toe-to-toe best Western jungler with Inspired. Caps is still doing a lot of the heavy lifting. If you watch that finals against KC where everyone's losing their mind, the amount of work that Caps had to do to get them across the finish line was second to none. It's kind of interesting that you look at the scrim results, and I think KC versus G2 scrim results this year was like 16-4 in favor of KC. But on the big stages, Caps just like gets it done. But I think Scumon, that series, did the second biggest job next to Caps outside of clutching. Caps' job was like gapping mid a little bit and then clutching. Scumon's job was just winning the early game. And I don't know what the stats are, but I'm pretty sure Scumon was up like 1 to 2k gold every single game that series. So for me, the big driving force of this team is mid-jungle. See, people have jungle bot, people have mid-top, people have top-mid, whatever the fuck. I think for me, G2 is just jungle mid. Which I think is the reason that they would beat Lion, in my opinion. Because Inspired Saint are good. Saint is like very raw mechanics, he looks like. He looks like very kind of rough around the edges, raw mechanics. If he gets the ball rolling, he will snowball you down. If he falls behind, he will slowly break out. I think that if Saint falls behind, he kind of trickles out. And I think that caps into Saint and Scumon into Inspired will just completely nullify Lion. Like, I don't think Dokla and Isles are the players that are going to gap BB and Labrov to win them the series. If mid-jungle is even. Like, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. I know Dokla had like that crazy run in playoffs where, I don't know who it was the fuck they were against. Was it Sentinels where he's playing like Vayne top and shit like that? I think Isles had like a better playoffs towards the end of it. The start of the playoffs, I was watching his Lulu gameplay and his Nico gameplay, I think it was, and I was wondering like, what the fuck is he doing in half of these fights? He wasn't going in at good times. He wasn't like protecting his AD carry very well. It was pretty awful. Towards the end of the playoffs, it got a bit better. Like, it looked like he had good, confident engages. There was fights around the red buff where he was like making game-deciding engages, which is nice. But I look at the matchups holistically against each other, and I just don't think Dokla Isles are the level of caliber of players that would gap Labrov and BB, in my opinion. I know you're going to sit there and say, well, Dokes historically gaps G2 because of look at the NRG series. Bro, don't bring that up. No. Hell no. But then I look at FearX and I'm like, well, I definitely think Clear and Kellen could take advantage of that a bit on the side lanes, you know. So we'll see. I think Caps and Scumon are going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting this international. I'll be pleasantly surprised. It's just, the thing is, you look at the weakness I see at G2 is like the draft side for top lane. I'm a bit scared. Because domestically, I think G2 can get away with it. Let's just pick Rumble every now and then. BB will practice Rumble throughout the regular split. He's going to get better at Rumble. Yes, good. We need Rumble for internationals. And as much as they were winning on the Rumble, I wasn't like that sold, you know? I'm still not that sold on the Rumble. So I'm wondering what they're going to do in this tournament. Are they going to rock up this tournament, G2, and ban Rumble? Because there's some pretty solid Rumble players in this tournament. There's only a few, though. We'll see if they leave it open. But then you look at their finals and their playoffs and shit, and you're like, wait, they're playing fucking Yasuo top. They're playing fucking Shen top. Maybe this is the future. Maybe Rumble's banned, and maybe BB gets some crazy counter picks, or they flex something, and it's the G2 innovation that makes it so they'll win. Because historically, that's how it goes. It's not that G2 has individuals that are better. It's G2 that has creative meta reads that are stronger, and that's what leverages them to wins. And I could see them playing against a team like FearX. FearX play Yunara Lulu Pantheon, and G2 comes in with some fucking whack shit like a Shen top with a Corki Nami, and then they gaps him through bot somehow, you know? That extra Shen ult to stop jungle bots from losing. That's kind of how I'd rate the teams. I don't think it's that exciting, you know, in terms of dark horses. I would say my dark horse is FearX, because they just keep defying odds. It's kind of like a baby. I feel like FearX's run through the LCK is kind of like a baby version of DRX 2022. A very baby version. And I can show you why. They start in the lower bracket, round 1 of playoffs against DN Supers, the team that finished 0-21 last split and replaced a couple players, to then get a lot better. To their credit, Dudu looked good, Docdam and Peter joined the roster, they looked pretty good. They went to 5 games against them. It was very back and forth. So for FearX, you're kind of sitting there thinking, well, they just etched out against DN Supers. Then they go against T1, and they win against T1 3-1? What? They 3-1 T1. And then they go against Gen.G, and yes, they lost to Gen.G. Sure, they lost to Gen.G. But I think they were the first team to beat Gen.G in a game, weren't they? Oh no, that was DK. Gen.G's 20-2 for context this year, by the way. They took a game off of Gen.G, which was quite nice to see. And then they 3-0 DK. So you think that like the closest competition that they have after 5 gaming DN Supers, I think Gen.G is an anomaly, ignore them. They beat T1 3-1 and they 3-0 DK. So against their raw competition, they went 6-1 in playoffs. Mostly driven behind their bot and their jungle, in my opinion. I think Vikla had a massive step up to the point where he had lanes, where he was pushing the enemy mid in and being proactive and helping his team. And Clear was a stable rock that can... Clear kind of reminds me a little bit of like 2023 Zika, in a way. Where he's just kind of like the player where you can put me on a carry. Was it 2023 Zika or 2024 Zika? I don't remember. You can put me on a carry. You can put me on a tank. I'll 1-2 Sion. I'll counterpick top. Whatever you need, I'll give it to you. That's kind of what Clear reminds me of. I mean, you can see it from his champion. What's his champion? Renekton, Gnar, Sion. Like that is just... It's just meta central, blind, or base counter and go even / win the lane slightly. That's cool. I think that would be my tier lists. I'll be pleasantly surprised to see how Loud do, considering that Furia beat C9 and Sentinels. Can Loud beat Lion, who was competitive against ENA teams? And Team Secret Wales, from my understanding, now I'm just saying this from my understanding, I don't actually know for a fact, LCP without CFO is weaker. Like CFO, from what I understand from speaking to people, CFO was like this anomaly, where they just came out of nowhere, and Hongkyu and Gen.G and fucking... They're just beating teams like T1, and they're going to, or not beating them, going to 5 games in MSI non-stop. So I'm not sure if we'll get another version of CFO, but I think that if Team Secret Wales can like slot in here somewhere, that's already insane. And if Loud can slot in here somewhere, that's already insane as well. Alright, player tier list. This is going to be easy to run through, because Keen's the best top in the world. I think Canyon's the best jungle in the world. I think Chovy's the best mid in the world. I think Ruler's the best AD in the world. And I think Duro's the best support in the world. And I don't know what other arguments you can say otherwise, but I think they have the 5 best players in the world. Like, I just do. Like, I just think they have the 5 best junglers in the world. Oh shit, it says S. Sorry. Oh shit. I didn't mean to put Duro D tier. 100% 5 best players in the world. At this point in time. I see it. Then I think that the solo lanes of BLG are absolute god tier. Next to... Oh, god tier is a strong word, you know. I think that they're fucking insane, these solo lanes of BLG. They will be a big reason as to why they either flop or they perform extremely well. I'll put On for sure is here. Viper for sure is here. Yeah, I think is that what it looks like? I haven't really thought about this before. I'm gonna probably move people around, but I'm just going with what I'm seeing here. I think clear is fucking good, man. I'm not gonna include the teams again, by the way. I'm only gonna include the teams that I put in my tier list. Fuck, this is a hard one, man. These three are hard to do. I'm just gonna put them there for now. That's really hard to do. God, this is extremely hard to do, this tier list. I think for sure Gen.G is locked 1, 3, 4, 5. I think BLG would be... Yeah, I think they're also 1, 3, 4, 5 here. I think I'm gonna... I actually was debating putting caps here, you know. But I think that's just my EU bias talking. I have to remove my bias. I think people, maybe, like I said, when it comes to Clear and Raptor, will look at the names and be like, I think Clear is for sure third in my mind. For sure. I think he's just the most solid player you could ever ask for in this tournament. Outside of Keen and Bin, in my opinion. The way I always look at this is like, who would I want on the roster to build, you know? Skewmon is definitely a lot less in jungle. This jungle sit, I'm going to have to sort out in a second. I would say Chovy, Knight, Caps, Honkyu, Vikla, Saint. That's fucking locked for me, 100%. Chovy, best man in the world. Knight's right next to him. I think Caps is playing great as always. I think Honkyu's been really good. Vikla's having probably the best year of his career. And I think Saint, for me, still a very solid mechanical player, but we'll see what he can do. When he's ahead, he runs games. When he's behind, he looks a little bit... Support Duro on Kellen, Vampire, Labrov, Isles. Happy with that. Ruler, Viper, Diable, Gala, Hansama, Berserker. Yeah, super happy with that. Diable's probably one of the most exciting players I've seen in the last year and a half. Keen, Bin, Clear, Shaoshu, Broken Blade, Dokla. Yeah, that's for sure. Looking at historic internationals, this might happen, but please no. Please no. Just get him... Broken Blade will play a different style this tournament. He will... Like, you've got Keen who'll play everything. Bin who'll play, like, pretty good range top counter picks. Mostly everything as well. If you need it, you can play tanks. Clear who'll be solid. Shaoshu is just gonna get, like, Renekton and shit, and Gnar and Sion as well. And then Broken Blade's gonna come in with, like, Yasuo, fucking Gwen, Shen, Aatrox, all that shit. And Dokla, I don't think Dokla will be playing his range top laners. I will say, though, before we move on to jungle, Dokla... that period where Dokla played range supports, it was impressive. It was very impressive. There was a series where he just busted out, under range tops, where he just busted out Vayne and Irelia, and he popped off. I'll give him that. He popped off. I don't think he's going to do it at first end, though. I don't think he's going to do it. How do you organize this jungle? You've got one player who is the best Western jungler still and runs the entire team to get them to a finals. You've got one player who is insanely well at facilitating a lane that carries the team to be second place in the LCK. And also has really good early games, I would say. Like, something I haven't mentioned yet, but FearX early games are their by far strongest suit. By far. They are so fucking good early game. And it also always comes down to, like, Raptor and... Mostly Raptor and bot. There's been times where mid and top do some good things. But, overall, their early games, they're insane leads. Shun, why are people question marking Shun? What are you saying? What are you on about? Am I fucking crazy? Why is everyone like saying Shun second question mark? What do you mean? Shun had a crazy playoffs, didn't he? He had like one game on Poppy where he was completely 1v9ing. He had one game on Kha'Zix where he completely 1v9'd. He had one game on Wukong where he completely 1v9'd. He does some stupid shit. I'm not gonna lie. He does some stupid shit. But that, I feel like throughout the whole playoffs, he was gapping everyone. Everyone. I don't know, when did he get gapped by Gen.G? Am I fucking delusional? When did he get gapped by Gen.G? Maybe in their 5-game series, he had like 1 or 2 games where he was a bit behind, yeah? Canyon's not good, bro. I feel like people are living in the narratives of last year where Canyon was like falling off before Worlds. Bro, Canyon is completely Barak. What are we on about? That guy is gapping. That guy did not have, like, what? Canyon split this so far. The split, in my opinion, was fucking great. Fucking great. He completely carried the finals as well. Yeah, this jungle situation is hard, man. I think Skewmon's been improving a lot. Junjia is like the reason that JDG wins 90% of the time. Raptor is the reason that FearX gets leads, and Inspired is the reason that this team even exists on the radar. This is impossible to rate, but I'll have to make a decision. I think Skewmon's gonna have to tank it, sadly. I'll leave it like that. I'll leave it like that. I think I put Inspired there because he completely, like... I guess this is all subjective, right? I think you can look at it subjectively, but you can make arguments for everything. But, okay, I guess the best way to say this is, like, let's pretend that Inspired was a Korean jungler that came to the LCS and, like, did what he did. I feel like everyone would be like, oh my god, the next coming of God is coming from the LCS. I'm convinced that will be the narrative. And I think Inspired's just been around for a few years, and people know that he's fucking great. But I don't think we realize, like, kind of grasp how insane he is. He is literally sitting there in comms, micromanaging 4 people, gapping the enemy jungler. The only criticism I have of Inspired that pisses me off all the time is this guy he refuses to believe that dragons exist. Like, there's a world he rocks up to this international. All of his lanes are, like, weaker, and he just never goes to Drake, and they just lose in 20 minutes. Because he refuses to acknowledge dragons. I can take enemy blue buff. Like, it's so disgusting. Like, where is this game? I need to crash out real quick. I need to show you one iteration of it that just pissed me off so much, and you can grasp it right here, okay? Like right here you can grasp it. Here. Your jungler is coming fresh from base. Your bot lane is coming fresh from base. You take the crab and get 6 first. Do you get dragon right now on the most perfect timer with vision in bot side, your support AD fresh from base, and your 6 while your top lane sees the Nocturne? Or do you cross the entire map on Aatrox and invade his blue buff? Like, that pisses me off. That pisses me off. Your top lane has Giga Prio, Nocturne is already useless, and you can start stacking Drakes in 6 minutes. Do you A, do that, or do you B, run across the whole map and take his blue buff? That's what pisses me off. And then, do you know what the worst part of this whole game is? I think they get Drake like 2 minutes later, and they could have been on Soul. But then, like, they're Giga ahead, and then they start dropping Drakes again. It's crazy to me that they just like here, for example, Inspired takes a base for his fucking Sun or Sky. Their timers suck. The enemy team is down 1.4k gold. Your bot lane is Thanos, and you lose the Drake and they get out. Like, sorry, I just had a minor crash out. So I really hope that he doesn't rock up this international event and just like, he will play for himself, yes. But there's a world where his lanes just lose and he just loses Drakes and the game's cooked. I'll keep it like this. This is going to be my 5 tier list. Raptor, Inspired for me. Raptor, I hope Raptor does well this international. I really hope he does, because FearX is a chain. Raptor does a good early game to play into bot for Diable, who gets ahead for Kellen, who gets like scaling range support, and then Vikla plays a roaming mid like Talia or Ryze or some TF champ or some shit, and then Diable plays aggressive mid. Like, he's the beginning of the FearX chain. If he fucks up, the chain doesn't ever, you know, connect. And then Skewmond, yeah, someone had to tank it somewhere in this tier list. Someone had to tank it. I think these are my tier lists. I'm pretty happy with that. I would be surprised if people have that much different when it comes to tier lists, because it feels kind of straightforward outside of maybe jungle. Maybe jungle. I'm sure that some people maybe have Gen.G a lot higher, or they have Raptor a lot higher, or maybe some people have Skewmond a lot higher. Yeah, I think there's arguments for a lot. Why is there so much On hate, by the way? What is going on? On over Kellen, question mark? Bro, On is... I don't know, for me, On looked fucking phenomenal in those playoffs. He did just look phenomenal. He looks like he's got it back, you know? Let me bring up his thing. On just looks like he's got it back. Like, his engages are great. His lane phase has been really solid. There's definitely games where he still does his thing, where he walks around and gets caught and he's, like, griefing a little bit. But, bro, he looks like he's back in his flow state. Am I delusional? I feel like I'm not. I don't think he's playing excellent, you know, to the point where I've seen peak On. But I definitely think he's been really solid. Really, really solid. I was the one person last year at MSI 2025 where I said On is bad and he's going to come into this tournament int. And then I got like 4 hate threads from LPL fans saying, "You're an LPL hater." I'm not just saying this to say it. Like, I don't have this crazy delusional soft spot for him or something. And I'm not saying that I didn't fold. What are you saying? I'm folding. I'm just saying what I think. That's it for the tier list and player tier list and stuff. I think the player to watch, if I had to choose one player to watch this tournament, I would say Diable would be great to watch this tournament. I'm really excited to watch Diable his first international. I think Caps is for sure a player to watch. And I think, yeah, it'll be a good tournament. I think it'll be a good tournament. We'll get some good matchups.